Can you believe the Coinbase IPO was just only 1 week ago? This industry moves so quick. And this is a Coinbase IPO update video with some possible outcomes on what we can expect next. We're back with another BeInCrypto episode. I'm Jessica, and if you're new, please help us support the channel by subscribing and turning on those bell notifications. We bring you videos like this every Tuesday and every Thursday. Now, you don't need me to remind you, the biggest cryptocurrency related IPO in history was last week. With Coinbase going public at the height of the hype, the trading app was being valued over 100 billion US dollars. You heard me right, 100 billion US dollars. So whether this is a sign of the top of a crypto market, I mean, I don't know if things can get much bigger than this, or it could be the complete opposite. This could be the key inflection point in which people who are not already in crypto finally realize that crypto is here to stay. Well, we have some bearish and some bullish cases for both, so keep watching. Now let's take things one step at a time, and first let's look at what happened in the immediate aftermath of the Coinbase famous IPO, which was possibly the cryptocurrency event of the year. So after the initial volatility that we saw and that magic $100 billion number reaching the headlines, we also saw that insiders sold roughly $5 billion US dollars worth of stock on IPO day. And how did we hear about this news? Well, an image of a spreadsheet started circulating on Twitter from this account that you can see on the screen now. Now, despite the fact that this image actually had no credible sources whatsoever, it did go viral because it was mentioning many top Coinbase executive names that you can see on the screen. These people allegedly sold or dumped a majority of their shares. That's according to the tweet that went out. And among them on the list was CEO Brian Armstrong and Coinbase director Brian Wilson, but also firms and investment firms like Andreesen Horowitz. So this news, if found out to be true, could definitely dent investors' confidence just a little bit. Now, many interpreted this as the senior executives acknowledging their lack of confidence in the company and blamed this exact move for the drop in stock price that we saw straight after the IPO launched. But remember, this is actually a normal occurrence around IPOs, and it's a sort of natural point from early investors who have been in to finally taking profit from their initial investments that took place so many years ago. Now, the important thing to keep in mind here is just how much they sold. Bulls, listen up. Brian Armstrong, the CEO, actually only parted with 1.5% of his holdings, which doesn't really show any lack in confidence in Coinbase's future prospects. The chances are if you keep 98.5% of your shares, you're expecting the price to go up. So Scott Melker, who also known as the Wolf of All Streets, clarified the situation in a YouTube video, and he actually stated that this was all fake news, and in fact the share selling from top shareholders was actually to be expected, as you can see in the clip here.
It all starts with the fact that it was a direct listing and not a IPO for Coinbase. I talked about this for weeks, trying to clarify it in videos, in writing, on Twitter, telling people in advance that there was no IPO, which means there were no new shares created to sell to the market to raise cash. In a direct listing, the only shares for sale are those that already exist, meaning that for a direct listing to even occur or exist, the existing investors and the executives have to sell some of their shares. That's the only way there is even a market, period.
So the direct listing, as Scott talks about, could make sense of some more of the sell-off, and other analysts are far more bullish. Chief among them was Sean Horrigan on Rosenblatt Securities, which is a research and investment institutional brokerage firm. And he said that crypto has reached an inflection point on its road to legitimacy. And we see this as a long-term disruptive trend that is only in its early innings. Now, he's also one of the first 6 market analysts that have started tracking the Coinbase stock, and all of them have a buy rating with an average price target of $509, which is a really interesting point to remember if you are watching for an entry point. Now, I'm showing you now a chart, and in blue you have Coinbase's revenue, and in red overlapping is Bitcoin's price, and it does show a really clear relationship, which is important to note as we're in a bull market. And it was also a popular companies like Grayscale, MicroStrategy, and Tesla that have also paved the way for this Coinbase listing. And institutional investors have seemed kind of reluctant to join in on the crypto rally, but a public company that offers easier access and exposure to the potential growth of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and also other crypto assets seems like a great way to do so, and this set is set to welcome a new wave of institutional investors. And should Coinbase win their trust, well, that would definitely have a head start raise in the stock, and it could grow for many more years to come. But there is a bearish scenario, one in which Coinbase falls or even completely collapses. Well, to be completely honest, there's actually several, and we're going to run through them now. So we've already mentioned the main one, which is a crypto winter that suffocates Coinbase's revenue and slows down all of its progress that it's worked really hard to maintain. Now let's talk about competition. As we know, the industry is flying in general, and right now there aren't many true signs for competition, but a different bearish scenario does seem more likely. And now this is one involving strong competition from multiple sides that are already gearing up to attack Coinbase's dominant position. The first one and the most prominent being Kraken, and this is one that I want to talk you through now. So Kraken have already made an announcement that they'll be doing an IPO. PayPal and Square, which we've talked about in previous videos, have already made inroads on the crypto market, and they've also announced really ambitious plans that could hurt Coinbase. So we're going to have to keep a close eye and see how those fare out. But in general, it seems like the IPO went really smoothly. It gathered a lot of positive attention, and at one point, huge, possibly an excessive valuation. Coinbase's stock seems like it's here for the long term. Now let me know in the comments if you bought the IPO, if you were thinking about it, or if you think now is actually a good time to have it on your purchase list. Well, that's all for this video. Please help us by liking this video and also subscribing, and I'll be back with our next feature on Tuesday.